paycheck.com. Unapproved credit, not all applicants will qualify. Cannot be combined with any other offers. For customers only. Restrictions apply. Callers see website for details. Offer expires June 28, 2022. CSW number 778-326.
A 401k retirement plan is a great way to keep your employees happy, and Paycheck can find the perfect one for your business. As the #1 retirement plan provider in the country, our experts will help you understand, set up, and administer your 401k plan, saving you time and more of every hard-earned dollar. With 50 years of experience, Paycheck makes 401k simple. Sign up today at paycheck.com/401k. That's paycheck.com/401k.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
Don't you just love the smell of old books?
This is the library.
Sorry, ma'am. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your Car Insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I don't think we carry that, but just one
It really does devour literature.
please leave.
Only pay for what you need. Liberty, 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 liberty.
You're always up for some fun with the family. Look forward to the essentials, a new board game, some baking supplies, and even a new projector for outdoor movie night. And with the Bank of America customized cash rewards credit card, you can choose to earn 3% cash back on online shopping, which could increase up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member. Rewards which you can put toward an extra treat that everyone will enjoy, like an old-fashioned popcorn machine. Visit bankofamerica.com/more-rewarding and apply now. Copyright 2021 Bank of America Corporation.
8:15 on KNX. Explosions heard in parts of Ukraine, including the capital Kyiv. We have a special report coming your way at 8:20. Right now at 8:15, let's get a check of your traffic on the bias sponsored by Tustin Auto Center. Here's Denise Bondo.
I see some slowing on that 5 southbound. Making your way through the Commerce area, the southbound side was actually cleared out from the East LA interchange all the way into Orange County, but now this stretch is slowing again once more on the southbound side of the 5 through the Commerce area. No crashes or stalled cars reported either. On that 5 northbound at Colorado, fire department is on the way. We've got a report of a fire off the freeway. On the 110 southbound at Harry Bridges on the Harbor Freeway, we had debris reported in 2 of the middle lanes. We also still have a problem reported on the 210. This is on the eastbound side coming up on Santa Anita. This is where we had a truck that broke down in the far right lane. Looks like they're still on the shoulder of the roadway, waiting for a tow truck to arrive. Tustin Auto Center is honoring our founding fathers with an entire month of presidential savings. Save more Ben Franklins than ever during their huge clearance sale. But hurry, this President's Day sale has a term limit and it ends February 28th. Tustin Auto Center, let's ride. Next report, 8:25, with more reports more often from the Toyota of Glendora.com Traffic Center. KNX News 97.1 FM.
LA traffic is terrible. We know that. But did you know that the region's largest traffic team on the ground and in the air is now on 97.1 FM? KNX has moved to 97.1 FM to give you a clearer picture of the traffic so that you're not moving it. And you can be a part of the team. Be on KNX traffic tip. Call us anytime on the KNX traffic tip line. 323-467-1070. The KNX traffic tip line is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
お疲れさんです。
Your oil change.
Hey, Jim! Thanks for coming. Are you kidding? I never miss one of your dinner parties. How's the new job?
なんでここに出てこないんだろう
And
な。
I
そ
stopped
れよ
working
くわかんない。
weekends, thanks to how much smoother everything runs on NetSuite by Oracle.
Fantastic. We're still using
Why haven't you upgraded to NetSuite?
we're making QuickBooks work. Started.
Watch your language. The kids are right there. Sorry, Amy. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more. NetSuite is everything you need to grow, all in one place. And 93% of surveyed businesses increase their visibility and control since upgrading from QuickBooks.
お疲れさんです。
Sounds like it's time for me to switch to NetSuite. Over 27,000 businesses already use NetSuite. For the new year, NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/radar. Head to netsuite.com/radar for this special one-of-a-kind financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses. netsuite.com/radar.
It's Mike Good from here. Shouldn't you breathe clean air all day, every day? Yes, you should. So help protect yourself with IQ Air's Health Pro Plus Air Purifier, the #1 large room air purification.
さあ、帰りましょう。
These Swiss-made purifiers were chosen by the Hong Kong Hospital Authority not only
帰りましょう、帰りましょう。
but also SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes use patented industry-leading hyper-HEPA filtration. The Health Pro Plus captures particles down to 0.003 microns, the smallest that exist. And now, for a limited time only, use the promo code radio to save
はい
10% on Autumn Series, that's the personal air purifier that I've got on my desk, or the Health Pro Plus.
切れてなかったっけ？
IQ.com/US or call 866-260-7222.
切れてなかったじゃなくてまた入ったかな。じゃあまたやらかしてた？
or 866-260-7239. The promo code radio. Help protect your loved ones. Gift a healthy you.
またやらかしちゃった。
Get it today. Brian King here in the KNX newsroom, following our top-breaking story this evening. It appears that military operations are underway in
ま
Ukraine.
たやらかしちゃったの
Explosions
か。
heard across that country, including in the capital city of Kyiv. A full-blown Russian
はい
invasion could cause massive casualties and topple
はい
Ukraine's
泉さんありがとうございます。
We have in-depth team coverage now at 8:20.
CBS News special report. Ukraine's president tried to prevent it. Russia's president would not take his call. And then
今
authorized
日は本当タイミング良かったっすわ。
also been reports of explosions in the capital of
ああ
Kyiv in Ukraine.
何それもう。
Correspondent Holly Williams is there.
And on Russian state TV, he said that Russia's plans do not
はい、お
include
疲れ。
occupation of Ukraine, but he said that Russia
配信
will
配信の邪魔っすよこれ完全にもうやめてほしい。
between the two militaries are inevitable.
At the UN this morning from the UN, Ambassador
猫
Russia
バス
has
し
brought
何が
People,
泉
the
昨日
Ukrainian
の
people,
分取り返しまし
う
た
ん
to the
手
brink
塩
of a
CH
conflict
イワ
that
シ
will
イワシ以下っすよイワシ以下。
of human suffering.
President Biden adding the prayers of the entire world are with the people of Ukraine tonight as they suffer an unprovoked and
あー
unjustified
邪魔くさ
by
も
Russian military forces. CBS News special report.
歩いて行けよという話ですよね。本当にもう俺今ちょっと配信忙しいのに切ればよかった。跳ねましょう。
手塩 CH Cold Sweat Smile
そうそう
Daga
そうそう。おいおいおいおいおいおいおいおい。
Save a lot of lives.
Right now, though, the New York Times reporting the two prosecutors who
邪魔くさいな本当にもう。
investigation into former President Trump and his business practices have both suddenly resigned. This comes during a pause to their presentation of evidence to a grand jury. David Cass, criminal defense attorney,
鳴らしたよ。おっさんびっくりしてるじゃないほら。
It is kind of an odd development because as recently as only a couple of weeks ago,
猫
it
バスし
seemed
素
from
晴
all
ら
the
しい
素晴らしいだって。
picking up, the case was picking up.
素晴らしいだって。
Called to appear
素晴らしいときたか。
What do you think happened?
Well, it's odd and it's stunning, but I think at this point we can only conclude that this means that Trump will not
はい、
be
着きましたよーんと。
at least in state court. That is, he will not be indicted by the DA's office for criminal activity of inflating his assets.
どこだよーんと。あ、ホテル帰るだけか。
Legally entitled to, because these two prosecutors would not have quit, especially this dramatically and both at the same time, if the criminal investigation were moving forward. The new DA in New York City, he gave indications to these prosecutors, obviously, that he was not really going to move wholeheartedly forward with the case. They postponed a witness who was going to appear in front of the grand jury. It's a special grand jury in New York, so it will expire in April.
何も言わねえ。
So I think this was put up for shut up
ちょっと
time, and these
キャスのやつ下げますね、下に。すいませんね。
DA who just came in after Vance, who's been there for a long time, they didn't think that this new DA was really going to press the case forward. And from the DA's point of view, he was elected. You know, he has a right to change policy. He has a right to use his prosecutorial discretion and not indict Trump. And he may have just felt, look, if the Merrick Garland doesn't get Trump to something beyond a reasonable doubt in a criminal case, if they don't get him in Atlanta, if they don't, where they have a tape recording of Trump saying, find me 11,500 more votes, if they don't get him in Westchester County, where there seems to be evidence that he
エレ
inflated
ベー
the
ター乗
value
ってる
of
だ
the
って。
state up there, I mean, massively inflated it. The DA in New York may think, look, there's other things that I need to do with my time and my resources, and I'm going to use my discretion not to go with the case. But the two prosecutors who shepherded it all this way through and who were very distinguished, that's the
あ
only
あ、ア
reason
プ
that
リ、
makes
ア
sense
プリを
that they
切れ。
would
あ
both
あ、
quit
そっか
at
そ
the
っか。
same
そうい
time.
うことか。
right, so this one on the
そういうことっすね。
the others and the civil investigation about the assets.
まだ切ってないんですけど、まだ切ってないから取れちゃったけど。
Yes, exactly. And it's so hard to keep track of it because there is this
そうそう
civil
そうそう。
investigation. That's the one handled
そう
by
いうもんですよね。
Jane. She is the Attorney General of New York State, but she can't criminally prosecute him. She can only sue him. And anyone who's tried to collect the judgments from Trump or one of Trump's organizations knows about all of the strange things that happened, the bankruptcies and everything. So
Oh,
it seems like a pretty
A
thin
second
remedy
special
as a
report
practical
on the
matter to
latest
go get,
developments.
try to get civil damages
Huh?
from
Yep.
Trump. But they're definitely going to pursue
Hello.
that. They're going to press that forward. One of the problems that the DA had criminally was not only that he had to provide evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, but that he wasn't getting much cooperation. No one in the Trump organization cooperated in the criminal probe against Trump. They gave that place for the accountant, long-time accountant.
To go into some detail.
He didn't cooperate. They went ahead and they did indict him on his basic charges.
Was that?
Getting the free tuition and a bunch of
That was the reason why we kept saying that's so cool.
I don't know. I don't hear a lot of things. There's lots of things that are cool. I don't know. Well, apparently, I thought little squeeze bottles were cool.
Okay, that was a little wild. But I guess, I wonder how they.
He was nipping that.
It was so funny. I mean, I didn't think it was a thing. Like,
Sir, we have these little jars for you.
take our small plastic ramekin. Yeah. Take your flask and your ramekin.
DAs do have a lot of discretion. The elected DA, as I said, they just think that if nobody else can get Trump on criminal charges, if he did indict this case and lose it, it would be one of the most famous lost cases, criminal cases in American history. I don't know if it would be bigger. It would be bigger than OJ. Obviously, it would be bigger than just about any lost case you can imagine in American history. So you can see why he would be a little reticent. His predecessor pushed the case all the way through the United States Supreme Court, where Trump lost twice. He seemed to really believe in it, be gung-ho about it, but he didn't run for re-election. This fellow ran for election. He won.
What are they doing?
He has this kind of discretion, and he felt that with a couple of months to go, he was just not going to pursue the case. I'd be shocked if Trump were indicted.
Oh, they're not paying the membership?
I mean, obviously told him, I'm not going to really proceed with the case, and that's why they resigned. They had every right to do that. It's a matter of principle for all of them. You can see why they didn't want to stay with the case going nowhere, but you can see why the elected DA has a right to make that call.
Well, it wasn't supposed to. Is it past 8 o'clock or at any time?
It said it's not. This is not a children's venue.
Yeah.
Criminal defense attorney, former.
Oh, okay.
Okay, when we come back, Russia.
But I guess
Sorry
we
to
can't
say, it looks like
Against children.
Ukraine or scaring Vladimir Putin.
What do you think this is? An all ages show? Hard for kids? Like,
Yeah.
because we're there on a Wednesday.
With a car that slammed into the center divider wall, and CHP says we do have a lane blocked there, and that is the carpool lane.
Whoa.
Yeah, there were a lot
So
of
is
folks
that
who were
like
there
kind of
for-
like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? Like LA or dinner or whatever?
There were a lot of people there for different to whatever. That was definitely.
Oh, thank you.
That we saw through Congress looks like that has disappeared.
Thank
You guys-
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Next report, E35 with more reports more often from the Toyota Downtown Traffic Center. KNX News 97.1 FM.
はよ、動けって言われちゃった。 さあ、帰りましょうか。全部切って帰ろうかな、今日は。もたもたしないで帰りましょう。
Seniors, every day we're experiencing higher food and gas prices. Everything costs more. Inflation is real and not going away anytime soon.
ここで U ターンして、
Eliminate your house payment and unlock the equity in your
こ
home.
こで U ターンして東方向へ向いて帰りましょう。
And get this, as the interest rates go up, so does your credit line and your spending power. Find out how you can turn inflation into a personal win and
帰
start living
り
your
ま
life
しょう。
again.
帰りましょう。
Tom Brown at
帰り道。
844-949-5600. Call to hear how a reverse mortgage will change your life. Call me. I don't just serve seniors. I am one.
うわ
844-949-5600. Call 844-949-5600.
原油先物97ドル越し。まったくもうスカイロケットじゃないですか、原油価格。うわダウ 2% ダウン、730ドルダウンだって。もう完全に戦争状態ですね、これ。3万ドル切りますね。フリーフォーリングです。フリーフォーリング。お疲れさんです。ガソリンが6ドル、7ドル、8ドル。またスカイロケットニューハイじゃないですか、これでまた。ガーンと。どうしようもないや。明日になったら100ドル。
CBS News special report. A Russian military operation is underway in Ukraine. CBS's Charlie D'Agata is in Kyiv.
The bombardment that we've had, maybe 22 dozen explosions that we've heard over the past 45 minutes or so, doesn't necessarily suggest an invasion is underway, but these might be targeted attacks on what might be command and control centers. The real concern, obviously, in a city of 3 million people, is the cost of human lives.
The attacks come as NATO officials urge Russia to stand down. The UN also holding an emergency meeting ahead of the invasion. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield.
Russia has brought its people, the Ukrainian people, and the world to the brink of a conflict that will produce an untold amount of human suffering.
ウクライナに突撃しようか
delivered an emotional address to his nation, saying his people want peace but will defend themselves. CBS News special report. I'm Monica Ricks.
CNN's Jim Patton Walsh is
交差点に突入。
city in southwest
小せ
Ukraine.
ー。ウクライナに侵攻って言ってるのにも交差点に突入せよか。したよ。小せー。
And so it was quite hard to assess exactly what those booms may have been targeting because of the distance they were at. Two, I think, woke me about 20 minutes ago. And so the question really is, are we seeing something beginning in the
19万の軍隊が国に侵攻中って言ってるのに。
aimed at targets, and this was limited.
交差点に突入。
In-depth team coverage of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Our next scheduled update at 8:50, and we'll break in with breaking news as things change.
日本も年表高騰しますかね。あ、大丈夫ですよ。
Fully vaccinated customers and employees will be able to ditch the mask indoors at businesses and venues that check vaccination status. Those places will have to verify that everyone provides proof of vaccination or a recent negative COVID test. People not fully vaccinated or who don't show proof will need to provide a negative test and wear a mask except when actively eating or drinking. LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger tells KNX this is a step in the right direction.
But again, I think this is a piecemeal approach to rolling out public health policies. Aligning with the state will provide clarity and consistency and give
まあでも原油の先物価格が上昇すると必ず燃料は上がりますね。間違いないですね、それは。こうなったらどこまで上がるかですよね。目先の目標は100ドル超え。100ドルが一応抵抗線でしょ。100ドル超えたらもう次は120ドルですよ。目標値。
Sound of the People's Convoy leaving the Atalanta Event Center here in the high desert. About a couple dozen big rig drivers.
全面進行に乗り出した。
Washington D.C. All of them with a political agenda opposing any mass.
BBC は緊急放送をしているようです。もう4大ネットもあれですね。始まってますね。NBC も第2波の速報を出したってさっきノート来ましたけどね。あれなんでしょう。あ、来た来た。交通情報だった。
And CHP is running a break right now to get this one cleared. It's an injury crash with a car that smashed into the center divider wall. Then on the 405 southbound, just north of the 22, we've got a problem here with a pickup truck that is stalled out. And that is in the carpool lane, so we're looking at another break in traffic there. We've got road work in North Hollywood on the 170. This is on the southbound side at Sherman Way. We've a new crash reported on the 101. This is on the eastbound side, Studio City, right at the Hollywood interchange. We've got a two-car wreck reported.
進路派っていうんですか。あの人たちがいる街を乗っ取るだけじゃなくて、キーフまで、首都まで進行するってことなんでしょ、結局ね。
This is KNX in depth, along with Charles Feldman. I'm Mike Simpson.
Coming up, truckers against vaccine.
どうなんでしょうね。
They are rolling.
それがいいことなのか悪いことなのかわかんないですけどね。戦争で銃撃戦になってね、死者がいっぱい出るっていうのがね、戦争の悪いとこ。ウクライナがロシアになった方がいいのかもしれないし、もしかしたら。
Russia says, no, we haven't done that yet. All of this after the president imposed new sanctions against Russia. Daniel Long is a global fellow with the Wilson Center who focuses on sanctions and economic warfare. Daniel, thanks for being here. So, every day looks a little bit worse.
ウクライナはね、NATO には加入してないと言っても、ポーランドとかドイツとか、線引きが、グレーゾーンがなくて、線引きはその方が明確になるっていうか。
Yeah, thanks for having me. Indeed, at this point, I think the sanctions are really more symbolic rather than truly trying to impose.
ウクライナの石油のパイプラインの開発とかも全部ロシアに任せたらいいんですよ。ロシアにしちゃって。間にウクライナが入ってるからややこしいんじゃないですかね。ドイツとロシアが石油の協定について制限をするとか言ってるけど、間にウクライナがあるとめんどくさいんじゃないですかね、話が。じゃないでしょうか。
During the later days of the Cold War, when we were dealing with the Soviet Union, we were dealing with
ベラルーシはロシアに仲間って言ってても、ね、バルト三国のリトアニアとかエストニアとかあっちの方に侵攻したっていう話は聞かないですからね。
Still the same terminologists who are trying to decipher what's happening. I
ね、
wouldn't go so far.
グルジアもグルジアなんでしょ、今のところ。
Completely at the sole whim of
ロシアが欲しいって言うんだったらもうあげたらいいんじゃないですか。それを守ろうとするとアフガンみたいになるんじゃないですかね、やっぱり。
certainly since the good old days of the Soviet Union.
We have our sanctions,
わ
and
かん
we
ないで
have
すけ
our
どね。
list, and we have more in the quiver.
何にも
Is
知らない
Europe mostly where we
ただ
are
の
now in
一
terms
人
of
の人間の
slapping
たわ
with
ごとで
the
ございま
same
す。すいま
kind
せん。
of level of sanctions?
Of course, many of my colleagues or former colleagues at the State Department are working very hard to ensure that the U.S. and Europe present as united a front as possible. The fact that Germany has decided to freeze the certification for Nord Stream 2, I think, is a major step from
それは
Germany.
確かですけど
We've
ね。
also seen action
ただ、
from the UK as well. That said, Europe requires
おい、
unanimous
はい、お疲れさんで
consensus
す。
when they go ahead with any sanctions, and therefore European sanctions are only strong as the weakest link, and we're already showing, I think, signs of weakness from places like Italy.
ウクライナに侵攻したいその理由ですよね。
So I'll be very surprised
なんでウクライナに
if
侵
they
攻したいか、
manage to
侵攻
achieve
し
the
なきゃい
same
けない
kind
の
of
か、
political
理由はあ
will
るんですよね、
and
きっと
impose
ね。
our sanctions as Europe, which is also understandable given that their economy is more intertwined with Russia. At the same time, it is much closer to their own geopolitical backyard. So hence, the stance of our government that we need to try and present as strong a front as possible to nip this in the bud.
Daniel On, Global Fellow, Wilson Center, focuses on sanctions
ロ
and
シアとウク
economic
ライナ
warfare.
だけの間の戦争ならいいですけどね、世界が巻き込まれる混乱になったりしたら大変ですけど。
Also, the number one retirement plan provider in the country. A 401k retirement plan is a great way to keep your employees happy, and Paychex can help you find the perfect plan for your business. Paychex knows which options will best meet your needs and give you the biggest tax savings. Our experts will help you understand the advantages of your 401k, then set up everything for you. By fully integrating your payroll with our record-keeping platform, we can help minimize all the administrative tasks involved with retirement plans. We'll update your employee demographics, edit payroll lists, submit contributions every pay period, and much more.
戦
Our
争は
retirement specialists will take
戦
care
争
of
は
your
まあ
needs, so you
ね、
don't
ダ
have
メだ
to,
けど、
saving you and your employees more of every hard-earned dollar. With 50 years of experience,
ウクライナに
Paychex makes
入らなきゃいけ
401k
ない
simple.
理由。
Sign up today at paychex.com/401k. That's paychex.com/401k.
あれでもウクライナに入ってウクライナを取り上げたいっていうわけではないんでしょ、結局。どうなんですかね。どういう目的なのかとか、そういうとこは一般の人には分かんないですもんね。
The official says Russia is a permissive operating environment for cyber criminals, one that is not going to get any smaller. U.S. officials do say that there's no specific credible threats, but they are emphasizing vigilance. Sean Tuma is a cybersecurity expert and an attorney specializing in cases involving cybersecurity, data privacy, and data breaches. Sean, thanks for being with us. How worried should we be?
We should be very worried. As you said, the folks over in Russia, that is a permissive environment. Cyber is the new battlefield of choice for our century, and they make a lot of money at it. And so we can impose sanctions the old-fashioned way, or they can kind of do their own sanctions their way, which is getting money from our companies and our governments and everything else through cyber attacks. And so we're going to definitely see more of that.
Yeah, it's not just the heavy, government infrastructure, right? Like we mentioned, and you mentioned, it's local governments and businesses. So it's not just, hey, let's screw with whatever their government systems. It's let's just try and get as much money out of them as possible because now it's open season as far as.
今日はお仕事なんですね。
That's right. It's people have this notion, this like James Bond type notion that cyber attacks are always this highly specific
贈り物を届けたのかな。
against certain organizations,
確か。
but that's not necessarily the case.
贈り物を届
Usually
けた。
what we see is well called drive-by hack. They're just getting targets of opportunity a lot of times, and that may be critical infrastructure.
今キエフの
but
ライ
it
ブ
may
カメラ
also
見て
be
ます。
your mom and pop
明るくなって
businesses
きま
down
し
the
た。
street that have some vulnerability, and these hackers
キエフが明るくなる
tools
っていうのは
that
どういう意
just
味な
scan
ん
the
だろう。
internet for vulnerabilities, and then they attack. And so it's not a
夜が明
precise
け、
process, and any business could get looped up into that.
Why do I have a
夜明け
feeling the answer to
いや、
the
夜中で
question,
すよね。
are we prepared, is going to be no.
キエフが明る
You're
くなる。
clairvoyant. How about that? No, because that's true. We're not prepared. Look, we can't. Cyber is warfare, and so it's not like Y2K where it's a code problem that you can fix. It's a battlefield, which means for every defensive measure you take,
明るくなっ
the adversary takes another countermeasure, and so we have to engage in that with active defense, and that means, taking basic precautions, but staying on top of it. It's not a problem we could just say, oh, we're done. Okay, move on to the next issue. Because the bad guys are always countering with something else.
So they're going to scam. They're going to look for whatever they can get. But is there anybody that, the FBI's put on actual high alerts if you're any sort of government contractor or defense linked to any kind of tangential way? They're probably going to come after you as much as they can.
Yeah, so we know that they target areas of critical infrastructure. So to understand how these attackers, there's multiple issues. One is just money, okay? Money is fueling a lot of this, most of this. So that's your businesses. They're just getting anyone they can where they can extort you to pay a ransom. The next level is preparing for true battle. That's like positioning your forces on the battlefield, getting ready for an attack. That's your areas of critical infrastructure where you could see utilities, water plants, banking, financial institutions, all that stuff where if there were a large scale conflict, they would already be in position so they could flip the switch and start disabling a lot of these things that are very important to us.
So big companies and the government, they can do one thing. Individuals, like I got like $2.50 in checking. How do I keep the Russians from getting it?
Okay, so a couple of basic things. One, use good passwords. Don't repeat your passwords on accounts that are important to you. I know it's good to say don't do it at all, but we're all going to do it at some level.
普通に車走ってます。
That's right. 867-5309. Don't use that one. They know you use it. Use multi-factor authentication. That's the two-step login process, right? Where you put your password,
戦争ですからね。そんなに
something like that. That's very valuable.
テレビゲームのように一瞬では終わらないですもんね。何分の間では。
We see 45% of the ransomware cases we deal with come in through remote desktop applications.
お疲れさんです。
Use a VPN with a
これから飲んで寝る。
password login instead. Have good backups of your
夜中過ぎ、朝早くが出発ですか。
For God's sakes, people quit clicking on phishing email links.
私もあと15分、20分かな。ビールまであと20分。
Yes, but now the Russians know because they're listening.
And they know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. when we come back, actually it's 1, 2, 3, 5. Truckers roaring Washington, D.C. looking to protest when we come back.
It's 8:47. Let's get a check of your traffic, and here's today's Fondo.
We have a crash on the 101 eastbound Ventura Freeway East coming up on the Hollywood interchange. Left a little backup there from about Laurel Canyon. On the 170 in North Hollywood, southbound side from Sherwin Way to Magnolia, we've got some overnight road work, and Caltrans has already moved in to take care of that. One of the cars that was stuck in Orange County on the 405, tow truck is there. This is the southbound side, and it is just before Seal Beach Boulevard. Tow truck has it hooked up, and I'm sure it's hauling it away at this point. And on the 22 westbound side at Golden West, that's where we had a crash with a car that smashed into the center divider. And CHP was running a brake to get everything out of the roadway, but it looks like there might be some damage to that center divider. Next report, 8:55, with more reports more often from the Toyota of Glendora.
今夜のおつまみ何にしましょう。あ、そう。卵がいっぱいあるんですよ。卵食べないと。この前買い物行った時にね、卵1パック買ったんですけど、なんかないんじゃないかなと思って買ったら、その前に買っててダブっちゃったんですよね。 花火の CG ならいいのにね。そうそうそうそうそう。茶碗蒸し。茶碗蒸しって結構でも卵を使うようで、出汁がいっぱい入ってるから、あんまり卵使わないじゃないですか。オムレツですよ。オムレツしましょう。オムレツ。プレーンオムレツ。ただの卵焼きじゃねえか。プレーンオムレツ。ただの卵焼きでしょ。あ、でも、玉ねぎと缶詰のマッシュルーム、アボカド。そのくらいは入れようかな。卵焼き、目玉焼き。オムレツっすよ、オムレツ。プレインオムレット。あー、オムライスっすか。あ、でもね、オムライス、オムライス美味しいっすよね。でもね。いや、とにかくね、卵をいっぱい使わないといけないんですよ。
By Russian President Vladimir Putin, condemned by U.S. President Joe Biden. We have in-depth team coverage now at 8:50.
CBS News special reported at this very moment, President Biden is talking to the President of Ukraine after the Russian military moved into his country.
キッシュってなんかレンジでチンするもんしか食べないな。ケチャップご飯、おー、ケチャップご飯のオムライスにホワイトシチューをかけて食べる。なるほど。そういう食べ方があるんですね。卵サラダ、卵サラダもあり。卵焼きなんですよ。プレーンオムレツ。卵焼きじゃねえか。
Most likely launched from aircraft and by ballistic missiles targeted at command and control centers and air defense systems. Correspondent David Martin, CBS News Special Report. I'm Tom Ford.
空爆シンプルに。あー、なるほど。中がまだ少しこう半熟っぽく。味玉の作り置きか。それもありっすね。とりあえずあれなんですよね。もうそうそうそうそう。アボカドスプレーも買ったんですよね。ちょっとだから。アボカドスプレーも使って料理したいから炒め系っすよね、やっぱり。アボカドスプレー結局コスコで買えないからアマゾンで買いました。
This is KNX in depth. Mike Simpson and Charles Spellman.
Well, truckers in Canada disrupted life in Ottawa, the country's capital, for a few weeks as they protested vaccine mandates. They blocked roads.
そうそう、今日からアメリカのトラッカーさんがカリフォルニアからワシントン DC に向かってコンボイするって言って出発したって言ってましたね。
With us is CBS News reporter Christopher Cruz in Washington, D.C., reporting on these convoys and protests. Christopher, thanks for being here. So, since you are in
来週の火曜日に大統領の演説があるで。よし、僕も。
We're all excited about having more traffic on the Beltway. We think this is going to be just tons of fun. We really are looking forward to this. It's interesting because I was talking to some folks here in the newsroom about
まだ、ここにリカストアっていうのがあるけど。
There was a convoy that was coming down from Pennsylvania that turned out earlier today to have had only one truck in it. So the question is, so the Pentagon has approved 700 members of the National Guard being activated, a huge cost. About 400 of them are from the
なんかね、来週の火曜日に大統領のステートオブユニオンといってなんていうんですか、施政方針演説 毎年の施政方針演説ってやつが来週の火曜日にあるんですけど、それに合わせてアメリカのトラッカーさんがワシントン DC に集結するっていうんですよね。ナショナルガードが700人デプロイされたって今言ってますけど、ね。俺の車も今ハンドルヒーターがついてますよ。結構寒いんですよ今。7度ぐらいしかないのかな。ハンドルヒーターがついてて、なんかほかほかの焼き芋ハンドルほかほかの焼き芋状態。ハンドルもシートヒーターもついてますね。今ね、ぬくぬくっすよ、ぬくぬく。車から出たくなくなるんですよね。窓少し開けてるけど、外の風がすごい冷たいんですけどね。ハンドルヒーターついてるからあったかい。セビちゃんお利口なんですよね。これ気温が低くなると自動でハンドルヒーターがつくように設定してあるんですけどいつの間にかについて、あったかいなと思ったらハンドルヒーターがついてるわって、スイッチ入れないでも勝手についてくれるんですよ。カナダのトラックでもそうですね、ボーダーの、国境の封鎖じゃないんですけど、ワシントン DC のその国会議事堂っていうんですか、キャピタルビルディングに集結するっていうんですよね。まあそうですね、カナダのオタワの議事堂に集結したみたいな感じですね。そうですね。国境封鎖じゃないですけどね。いや、そのキャピタル、ステートキャピタルじゃないや。キャピタルビルディングか。まあ、国会議事堂みたいなところですね。そこに集まる。カリフォルニアからも今朝出発したと言ってますよ。
And I'm just curious if you have a sense of the pulse of the people there. Are they looking at this with apprehension, or do people in Washington kind of sort of look at this stuff and go, it's just another protest if it actually materializes, and we've done that before and we'll do it again?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a great question because, there's, again, the bust, in terms of coming down from Pennsylvania, that didn't work out. My sense is that people aren't going to start looking at this here in D.C. for the next 2 days. If all of a sudden dozens upon dozens or hundreds of trucks start rolling across the country, then I think people are going to be, fairly agitated about it. And my sense is, just a guess, and they've already shut down a number of streets in the nation's capital with sand trucks and other National Guard vehicles. My sense is that those trucks are probably not going to be allowed to get onto the Beltway. Just a guess of mine, but my sense is that they're just going to be stopped probably somewhere in Pennsylvania or in Virginia, and they're not going to make it to the Beltway.
Right, because you got lead time. It takes days and days to get there. You know where they're going to arrive. What happened to the one guy?
From the
the last we heard is he had 2 flat tires. So it was not going well. Yeah, 1 semi and 4 pickup trucks.
Has he been drummed out of the truckers' court?
Yeah, that's a good point. So that was not well organized, and it looks like this other convoy is well organized, and it can pick up trucks as it moves across the nation's midsection. So I think it's a wait and see. But again, there's got a sort of like this puzzlement is just what's the goal here? We're kind of sort of at the end of the pandemic. What really is behind this, and that I think is what people are really just curious about it is what's your problem? Why are you doing this now rather than a year ago?
今頃反対してどうするのっていう、もうパンデミック終わりじゃないでって。 パンデミックじゃなくてエンデミックって言ってましたね、そういや。今週の金曜日からインドアでマスクしなくてよくなるみたい。ワクチンの証明書を持っているか、もしくは PCR でネガティブ陰性の人はインドアでもマスクしなくてよくなるって言いましたね。キエフのライブカメラ静かですよ。まあとりあえずはそのドネツクとかあの辺りを制圧するのがまず先なんでしょ。そこで足場が固まったらそこから首都に向けて進行ってことじゃないですか。急にキエフには行かないでしょ、どうやっても。まずは国境のあたりの親ロ派地域の制圧がまず先じゃないですか。
The news has never been clearer. Live from the Dust Echo studio. Turn us on. KNX AM, FM, and HD. KRCH HD2 Los Angeles. KNX News, 97.1 FM.
Coming up, President Biden talks with Ukraine's president as the Russian invasion begins. Here locally, LA County will be relaxing its mask mandate starting on Friday. With Larry Perrell, I'm Brian Ping. These stories plus your traffic every 10 minutes on the 5s. This is KNX News 97.1 FM. It's 9 o'clock. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by the Exogen Temporal Scanner.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. The White House confirms President Biden has reached out to Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky as Russia launches military operations in Ukraine. There are reports of blasts heard in the capital of Kyiv and Kharkiv, where CBS's Holly Williams reports. We've been near and around the front line in recent days where there's been a big escalation. We've been in towns and villages that are devastated, people's homes very badly damaged. And if this is now a full-blown Russian invasion, U.S. officials have warned that could mean up to 100,000 civilian casualties in Ukraine and millions of refugees. President Biden will deliver remarks on the invasion Thursday after meeting with G7 leaders. In a statement, Mr. Biden says the world will hold Russia accountable. CBS's David Martin is at the Pentagon and reports Moscow's aim may be to cut off the capital from the eastern part of the country, where Ukrainian soldiers have been battling separatists.
NATO officials confirm what is now the obvious, that those explosions are in fact the beginning of the Russian attack on Ukraine, most likely launched from aircraft and by ballistic missiles targeted at command and control centers and air defense systems.
So what's next? CBS military consultant retired Colonel Jeff McCausland tells us the next few hours will likely get a lot more intense for Ukraine.
We can expect indirect fire attacks by artillery and missiles
to
intensify in the coming hours as this full attack gets underway. This will likely be followed by air attacks, by close air support aircraft, and efforts by the Russian Air Force to destroy the small Ukrainian Air Force and gain virtual air supremacy.
The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting at Ukraine's request. Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
In the recent past, there were several situations with similar indications, similar rumors, and I never believed in them, convinced that nothing serious would happen. I was wrong.
U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield says the U.S. believes a full-scale invasion of Ukraine is imminent.
All parties are not culpable here. There's no middle ground. Calling for both sides to de-escalate only gives Russia a pass.
Ukraine's ambassador pushed his Russian counterpart to stand down. And Ukraine's president is also pushing for peace, saying his people will fight back. This is CBS News.
The leading sign of COVID is a fever, so everyone needs an accurate thermometer. Try the Exogen Temporal Scanner and learn more at Exogen.com. That's Exogen.com.
Now, an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that the widely used non-contact thermometers are not accurate and have high probabilities for false negative readings. New COVID strands are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters most. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Don't wait. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
This financial update with CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is sponsored by Dell Small Business. If you're leaving your current job, you want to aim for a gracious exit. Here's Jill.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Let's stay connected on LinkedIn. Be a team player to the act.
The President's Day business sale has arrived. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. So save up to 45% on PCs, servers, storage, monitors, and more. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Ford is recalling 330,000 Mustangs over potential problems with backup cameras. Reporter Jeff Gilbert.
Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis had the most awards, followed by Volkswagen, Audi, and Volvo. But Institute President David Harkey says most car makers are showing improvement.
The automakers continue to make improvements both in terms of headlights and in terms of front crash prevention systems.
The Institute listing 36 top safety picks and 65 others, earning the even better top safety pick plus. Jeff Gilbert, CBS News, Detroit.
Miami-Dade College could make artificial intelligence classes a requirement for students soon. It's the first time a college will embed AI courses across all degrees, including nursing, business, and liberal arts. The $15 million investment comes as the city of Miami tries to lure more tech investors for other projects. Monica Ricks, CBS News.
This is KNX News 97.1 FM, Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station. Good evening, I'm Brian Payne.
And I'm Larry Farrell. Our top local stories at 9:05.
LA County will be relaxing its mask mandate starting Friday.
A convoy of truckers from Southern California head to Washington, D.C. to protest COVID restrictions.
But first, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the bias. Here's Tony Campos.
We've got a hit and run crash being reported on the 91 East. This is right about Green River. It looks like they have pulled over to the right shoulder, and you may see a little bit of slowing. Looks like the tow truck may have to come and pick that car up. On the 5 North at Alton Parkway, there is a crash being reported. Actually, this is a stalled vehicle, but somebody is laying underneath that car, working on it over in the right shoulder area. So you want to be very, very cautious as you head through that area. 210 West at Town Avenue. This is a 3-car crash. It is blocking the left lane. One of those vehicles is starting to smoke, so that is going to cause a little bit of backup, and the fire crews may block an extra lane to work on that once they arrive. The 5 South at McBean Parkway. This is in Santa Clarita. Look out for a vehicle that went off the right shoulder embankment, so they may block that right lane once they arrive. That was reported a couple of minutes ago. Emergency crews will be there shortly. That's reported 9:15. More reports more often from the Irvine Auto Center 24-hour traffic center, KNX News 97.1 FM.
Very cold night out in Southern California, especially in interior valleys like the IE and the high desert. Lows getting below freezing. In fact, into the 20s for those overnight lows dropped on tomorrow with a northerly breeze sweeping in. For most of Southern California, even coastal areas going to get well down into the 30s. A frost advisory covering a lot of areas, including all of Orange County and the coast, plus the San Fernando and San Gabriel valleys. Lows getting right around that freezing mark of 32. For tomorrow, sunny, northeasterly winds, very mild.
氷点下ありえないですよね。
Some 60s. We are warmer this weekend, back in the 70s, and then 80s next week, if you can believe that, after this cold night. Right now in Orange, it's 46 degrees. Riverside's got 42, Arcadia with 48.
It's 9:07. The LA County Public Health Department has made it official. The indoor masking rules will change starting Friday.
The shift means businesses that want to allow fully vaccinated customers and employees to unmask inside must verify proof of full vaccination or a recent negative COVID test for everyone. Unvaccinated people will still need to mask up indoors, even if they show proof of a negative COVID test, unless they are actively eating or drinking. LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger tells KNX.
The changes are a step in the right direction.
But again, I think this is a piecemeal approach to rolling out public health policies.
While the city of LA has broader rules in place than the county requiring proof of vaccination at more indoor businesses, a spokesperson for Mayor Eric Garcetti said in a statement, "We will heed the advice of our public health experts and
株
align
価
with
を
the
どう
county
に
on
か
loosening
しよ
these
うとして
restrictions."
騒いで
Margaret
煽っている
Carrero,
だけなのでは。
KNX News, 97.1 FM.
It's been called the
まあ
People's
どっかで
Convoy, a
調
protest
整
drive by
局
truckers
面
from
ない
Southern
と
California
上がり
today
っぱなし
to
ってわけに
Istanbul.
もいかないですからね。
The message to government.
まあだからそれにかこつけて今調整しようというところじゃないですか。
Truckers bound for Washington, D.C. in a protest drive gathered here in the parking lot of the Adelanto Event Center. This is near Victorville, Southern California's high desert. The truckers,
コ
inspired
ロナ
by
が始まった
protests
時
in
の調整
Canada,
局面の時はね、原油価格もドーンと下がったんですけどね、一緒に。今回は戦争絡みだからそれが一緒に下がらないですよね。やっぱ逆に作用するっていうんですか。
You know, pretty much the pandemic's over. It's time to drop the mandates.
before the truckers hit the road, the gathering here in the parking lot of the Adelanto Event Center had the feel of a county
戦
fair.
争
A
も
lot of American
戦争もお
flags,
金
some
儲けの
Canadian
道具
flags
ですよ。
too, a lot of pro-Trump signs as well. In Adelanto, Craig Fig, KNX News 97.1 FM.
Los Angeles City Councilman Kevin De Leon and Joe Buscaino, as well as real estate developer Rick Caruso, have all qualified for a place on the June ballot in the race for mayor. A tentative field of 27 candidates filed paperwork by the February 12th deadline to run for mayor of LA in the June 7th election. The official candidate list will be finalized in mid-March after all nominating petition signatures are reviewed.
Voting rights advocates are expressing concern over a decision by the California Secretary of State to reduce the number of languages on California's election ballots.
In some precincts, the number of languages could drop from 56 to 20. The decision is based on data from the 2020 census.
In the past, they've gotten really rich data from the Census Bureau about these very small language communities and where they live. This year, they just got back basically a blank document.
Jonathan Stein of California Common Cause says that's because of increased privacy
日本
protections
円
related to census
ね、
reports.
円ドル
So the
の
problem,
日
of
本
course,
円
that
がどっち
creates
に
is
動くかです
that
よね。
because of this technicality in how data is being handled, potentially tens of thousands of California voters may lose language assistance that they depend on when casting the ballot.
Stein says urgent action is needed since California's 58 counties 8
円
times
安ドル
prepare
高
for。 the June primary. Chris Stevens, KNX News 97.1 FM.
ネギチャーシューとウの花、
Abuse at its labs, which resulted
鶏
in
む
the
ね
deaths
肉
of
と
two
ゆで
rabbits
卵
and
のレタスサラ
It's
ダ。
called Stop Animal Exploitation Now, says the university's research
卵って言ったから
labs
卵。
violated the Federal Animal Welfare Act.
ネギチャーシューとウの花、そのウの花が食べたいな。
Died, and two rabbits died from what the organization described as negligence, one from choking,
ウ
the
の
other
花
from
が食べたい。
anesthesia. The group has filed a complaint with the U.S. Department of Agriculture that seeks the maximum federal fine of $10,000 per
美味しいっ
infraction
すよね。
per animal.
Coming up, keep it tuned here to KNX. We have the very latest on the situation in Ukraine, where it appears a Russian invasion is underway. We have had explosions reported in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, also air raid
鶏
sirens,
の胸
and
肉と
President Biden
ゆで
speaking with
卵のレタス
Ukraine's
サラダ。
president moments ago to discuss the next
ね、
Also, check of your traffic. We're going to
前はね、あったんですよ。日系のマーケットの惣菜のコーナーに。前はあったんですけどね、今、見なくなりましたね。あんまり売れないですかね。あれ、多分日持ちもしないから、売れなかったら結局全部売れ残っちゃうから、作らなくなったっていうか、売らなくなったんですかね。お豆腐屋さんとかあるからあるはずなんですけどね。豆腐だってハウスの豆腐とかなんとかの豆腐とかって言って何社も豆腐作ってるから必ずあるはずなんですけど、おからとしておからっていうかもううの花しても結局買う人がいないからもうあれなんでしょうね。なんか肉の代替食品とかペットフードの材料とかにも全部回しちゃうんですよね、きっとね。そうそう。多分ね、なんか手作りの豆腐作ってる明治豆腐さんっていうのがあるんですけど、その明治豆腐さんとこ行ったらもしかしたら売ってるかもしれないですね。
almost $15,000.
買いには行かないですけど、あれ今、 田本さんのコメントが見えたんですけど、なんでこっちに、あ、くるくる回ってるからか。帰り道でございます。今ちょっと線路の横走ってるから、電波頑張れかもしれないですけど。前売ってたんですけどね、なんか最近、だから前はね、たまに買ってたんですよ。けど、あんまり最近見かけないなと思ってたんですよね。家で作らない食べ物っていうのをね、やっぱり買いたいっていうんですか、そういう惣菜買うときにはね。だからね、そういうの結構買ってたんですけどね。
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. February is a great month for a sweet, eco-friendly treat like honey. So get to know your local beekeeper. Locally produced honey has a smaller carbon footprint, and local farmers markets are a great place to find them. Make sure your beekeeper only sells surplus honey and never uses any acids or chemicals in the hive. And lastly, see if they make soap or candles from the beeswax. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
A 401k retirement plan is a great way to keep your employees happy, and Paychex can find the perfect one for your business. As the #1 retirement plan provider in the country, our experts will help you understand, set up, and administer your 401k plan, saving you time and more of every hard-earned dollar. With 50 years of experience, Paychex makes 401k simple. Sign up today at paychex.com/401k. That's paychex.com/401k.
Your Toyota comes with Toyota Care Standard. That means you're covered for all factory scheduled services for 2 years or 25,000 miles, as well as lockout protection and 24-hour roadside assistance. See your dealer for details. We make it easy.
Glendale to Santa Ana, from downtown to Irvine.
お帰りでしょうか。お疲れ様です。自分は午後の部行ってきます。それでは素敵な夜をお過ごしください。はい。山本さんありがとうございます。ちょっと燃料を入れてまいります。こっち切り替えようかな。
Vulnerable children online to record themselves doing horrific things. I'm Emily Valdez.
Ukraine's president declares martial law, urges citizens to not panic as Russia launches a military invasion. Our next up, that story next up on Talking Confidence.
Right now, 9:15, your traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5. Let's get you over to Tony Campos.
In Santa Clarita on the southbound 5 at McBean Parkway, there's a vehicle that went off the roadway into that right shoulder embankment area. Now, it's not visible from the freeway, but it did land about 60 feet down that embankment. So expect emergency crews possibly to block that right lane once they arrive. So there are injuries to this crash. You're going to see a lot of vehicles show up there in the very, very near future. We've got some Caltrans roadwork being set up in North Hollywood on that 170 south, and you'll see them starting to cone lanes off right about Sherman Way. Let's go to Claremont, where there's a crash on the 210 west at town. It's a 3-car injury crash, and right now that is blocking the carpool and the left lane. 2 of those vehicles were smoking, and that is causing a little bit of backup as you pass Town Avenue. Checking out your drive on the 5 out of Commerce into Anaheim, that looks to be in pretty good shape right now. There's a little bit of slowing on the northbound 405 for close to Mesa. Caltrans is setting up some closures. Next report at 9:25 before reports more often from the Irvine Auto Center 24-hour traffic center, KNX News 97.1 FM.
We are drying out and warming up gradually as we head into Thursday afternoon. Still below average temperatures, but we'll climb into the 60s for the beaches, LA, Inland, Orange County, the valleys, and the Inland Empire. 40s in the high desert and 30s in the mountains. Warmer temperatures as we head into the weekend and early next week. With Southern California's most accurate and dependable forecast, I'm CBS 2's Olga Spina. For KNX News 97.1 FM.
Right now, Garden Grove 45, Pomona has 44 degrees, and Chatsworth with 45.
It's 9:17. Federal prosecutors say a South Bay man enticed vulnerable children to do unthinkable violent things to themselves on video.
Matthew Locher of Redondo Beach faces life in federal prison for 8 counts related to luring 3 children online to make horrible videos for sexual gratification. Federal prosecutors say
we're making every effort to identify every victim who may have been preyed upon by this person.
Chelsea Norrell, an assistant U.S. attorney, tells KNX Locher targeted children who suffered from mental health issues and groomed his victims to self-mutilate. He's also accused of devising a plan for a 12-year-old to kill her parents by setting her house on fire so she could be with him.
And he told the child that he'd use her body whenever he wanted and in whatever way he wanted.
Locher pleaded not guilty this week. Emily Valdez, KNX News 97.1 FM.
Even if there are dramatic reductions in temperature levels on the planet by curbing greenhouse gas emissions, a just-released UN study indicates we'll be seeing an increase in uncontrollable wildfires worldwide over the next 30 years.
The UN study foresees a 14% increase in so-called extreme wildfires around the planet by 2030, 30% by 2050 if there are no changes in temperatures and environmental
さあ、
factors.
ちょっとこれ、
In
ここで
California's
YouTube 切
wildfire-prone
りま
area,
すね。
Syracuse University Geography and Environmental Sciences professor Jason Bendick says partial solutions lie in controlled burns to reduce fuel loads in forests, but he points out fires will still occur, and human activity is the major factor as to why they happen.
During the Santa Ana winds, when the worst fires burned in Southern California, there really is no natural ignition source because lightning doesn't occur when those winds are blowing. It's all about human ignition.
The report also indicates man is reaching the limits of what can be done with firefighting suppression. And the most successful outlook to the future involves a return to seasonal
お疲れ
control
さんでござい
burns,
ました。
mechanical thinning, and animals being allowed to graze in fire-prone areas. Pete Demetrio, KNX News 97.1 FM.
An anonymous donor has made a $25 million gift to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles with an eye toward helping their nurses. The large donation is aimed at funding nursing education, training, and research, and it comes right when nurses at Children's Hospital are trying to regroup and recharge after a grueling 2 years of the COVID pandemic. Laura Corey is the executive vice president of the hospital. She tells KNX the donation will be used to advance the nursing field.
Committed to their
帰りましょう。
ability to grow in their careers, to advance, as well as to make a contribution through